Hello Aquarius, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and welcome back here to your reading. So I have pre-shuffled the cards, open the cards up. I have a storyline for you. So if you resonate with it, well, just stay to the end. Otherwise, of course, I know that you will click off. I tend to do long readings, so it will only be for those of you who resonate. And let's see if you're a patient Aquarius. Maybe patience is a thing for your reading here. Okay, I've talked about sometimes Aquarius, you can be, well, it will not be for all Aquarius, right? But you know, this feeling of having a hard time tuning in on what to do with your life. I think that because nothing here really seems like it fits. Nothing clicks, you know, like this, oh yeah, I want to be a firefighter, right? Or something. You're futuristic, Aquarius, right? So you tend to connect with something that is probably not here yet. Like it's not here yet. And therefore, you're one of the ones that are going to create it here. You're one of those that try to figure out what that is. That the thing that is not here. The thing that is not created, the thing about the universe we don't know yet, or something like that. That's what I think, right? That's why I say that Aquarius can be late bloomers. Because they look like they look on Earth here. There must be something here for me, right? But it just doesn't necessarily seem like that. They can be like what I call late bloomers, in the sense of knowing their direction or purpose. So today, the reading I have here is, I want to say, this is overall energy for you, the Two of Raphael. This talks about the Two of Cups. This would be something like a connection. Usually the Two of Cups in other tarot cards, other readings, people interpret this as you find the love of your life. Or you find a soulmate, you connect with a soulmate, right? Someone who is a kindred spirit. They understand you, they get you, they love you, right? But my readings are just not exactly like that. This is different. Like, well, it has to do with connection, I want to say. Like connection, and connection has been a thing that has been being a theme in the other readings. Either feeling in Sagittarius reading, I talked about the missing muse, this idea of that the thing, the inspiration source, this special, precious, you know, like the contact that switches off the light bulb moment for you. It's like the contact isn't there. It's like you have the light bulb, but electricity has not been invented yet, right? So you can't make it, do you get my point? You can't make it work unless, it's like there's something that's not there. And here it seems like Two of Raphael would suggest that there is at least almost, we see, almost connection here, or it's slightly tuning in for you here, right? It's becoming more, right? This is becoming more. It can be, you know, like just this little, like a tiny inkling of something. And it's clarified with the Earth card here. So you see, again, we have a face here, but it's not like you can't see everything. You can't see the hair, and it has a certain face, like tuned to it, eyes, nose, mouth, and so on. But it could actually. Let me just look at this card for a minute. We have darkness here, we have light here. Then I get something here, and there's something here about the front also. Like the third eye is very active. We have like a sun here. There's something. That's what happens sometimes when I look in the screen. I get, yeah, it's totally different when I look here. Like it hasn't the same. Some of it I can see, but here it looks more human. Here it has a like very it become, yeah, and this makes sense actually for me. It has a different, when I look at this, it looks more human. Like, but when I look here, it changes. There's something about the eyes that changes. They change color, and these look a little bit like sharp ears. It actually comes across like it's more like it's like there's something over up here somehow. The skull is different. And this makes sense for me because I took a clarifier on the Two of Raphael here. The clarifier for the Two of Raphael is this card, the Seven of Earth here. The Seven of Earth is a card of wanting to put your seed in with something. Wanting to put your seed in and let something grow here. Let something grow, but with this character, right? Look at him. Like, do you see it? It's like a it's like a love story here, right? But it's a connection with something. Do you see my point of it? It's like he has these feathers and something, right? I've talked about hybrids before in my readings, like we tend just not to see it. Again, when I look at this card just like this, it looks like a face. But then when I take it here and the shrining starts, like the reflection, that happens. Like when I look in like a mirror reflection or television or something, it changes. Like there is another, yeah, it changes its appearance here. The bone structure becomes different and something gets highlighted that is not highlighted when I look here. That's just how it is. It's different here for me. And this is what I feel like. It's like there is an investment with something here. An investment with something that you care about this. Like you care about what this is. It can be a part of yourself. Actually, the Earth card here is when you look at when I look at the book, the Earth card talks about the gift of life. The symbol on this card refers to the body of the planet Earth, the human body, and nature herself. We are reminded by this symbol that all creation are born of the earth and human beings are the stewards of all life on this planet. It refers to what we make of it, our wealth, health, security, grounding, solidity, and stability. It reminds us that the world of form is a gift from spirit and needs to be treated with respect. So this talks about, that all creatures are sacred, you could say. All beings, all human beings are sacred, no matter how they look, right? Their expression, it doesn't matter. Even though that you may feel that, I felt this a lot when I grew up, like feeling an alien here, like I don't really belong here, like I'm somehow misplaced. I got off the wrong train or something, right? Or wrong. I got off on the wrong station somehow. That somehow I belong or I connect with something else, right? That this is what I feel like here. That's what I feel like feeling you are, you know, like misplaced or like an alien, a foreigner, but actually loving it. Like you have come to an awareness that this is me. Like you see, you look at me, I still have human form. Four fingers, right? Maybe I come from a place where I only have four. I don't know. But you get my point, right? It's like accepting a part of you that may feel foreign. Or, you know, your appearance. Like maybe you are not satisfied with your human expression or something. But it's part of your DNA. We have many species on Earth. Like this is like an acceptance of species, I want to say. All kinds of life is sacred. As humans, we are stewards. Like it's like we are aware of this more than maybe animals are. Our brain knows this, right? But it's something like the 2 of Raphael clarified with the 7 of clarified with Earth card, and I took another card here to just make sure I got this right. That it's like there is, you know, like a part of you, or maybe this is the one that you love here. Like, you know, like that you could sit like me in a human form, right? But you connect with something here that is different. And this is the one that is your 2 of Cups. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not, he can be anything here, right? It's a life, it's a life creation of some sorts. And it may not come across as human. Like human as what we know about human form or know about the human race or something. It could be anything. Like let's say they have another color, or they literally have another, you know, like shaped face or something. Like he comes across as well, I don't know, like it's, and yeah, it's like there's something here that goes up like this, like this is sometimes seen if you look up, you know, like if you look up old Egyptian paintings or something. It's like those that are high ranking, you could say like a pharaoh or something, they have this solar kind of, I don't know if it's supposed to look like a halo, like it's just, that's how it's drawn, right? Or it's like a, now I hear magnet, like it's a magnet for something. Like they receive their greatness. It's like a solar plate of some kind. That's what I feel like it comes. I see it very strong. It could look like a horn, but it feels more like it's going up and it comes down here. And there's already like a solar, like some kind of sun plate here somehow. But not as big. It's small here. Like it could be much bigger. Much bigger. It's small here. And he has this There's like an emblem or something here in his forehead with the third eye. Like he comes across as a, I must say, like a higher, I feel like higher ranking spiritual being. Like he comes from a different dimension, this guy. And he looks different. Like he doesn't have exactly human shape. But it comes across like that. I think this is the best they can do. Like, you know, well, some consciousness states are said to not be human. Like it's pure consciousness. But this is maybe the best state they can represent themselves if they should be like in form. Does that make sense? Like if they should make themselves to a form, this would be the best they can do for us to understand our little brain here on Earth, which is only developed to a certain state. That's why I chose these tomatoes as the front picture. It kind of shows these stages that we go through to evolve, right? And Earth is also going through a state where it's not, it doesn't, well, I've said this before, but I'll say it again, that I believe that we on Earth, like our brains, like we are still like toddlers. Like we only use maybe 5-10% of our brain. Like, what about the rest? Like, it's like this dark area nobody really knows about, right? It's subconscious, we say, unconscious, subconscious. But what's in there, actually? And I believe there are many memories there, like bloodline memories, stuff like that. Maybe creative people that they have a bit more access to some of this. But otherwise, I think it's kind of this dark land we don't know anything about. Like, what if we could use our brain to 100%? Would we then get to the red tomato? Would we then be ripe? Like, would that be a state of like, you know, like really high consciousness? And we are now just one of those very small green tomatoes. Like Earth is, and we as her living children are a representation of that state of development. That's what I feel like with the third dimension. It's like there are things that can simply not exist here. We would probably shove it away because it doesn't fit with our understanding. It would be this feeling that one thing is then when we make the decision to open ourselves to something, to a certain point we have calculated whether this is an okay risk to take, then we would maybe say yes to it. But if it just comes in like that and we haven't said yes to anything, we would probably, whoa, get away from me, right? Especially if it looks strange somehow or otherworldly, or like, well, he comes across as quite old, this guy. Like wrinkled, very like white. He's pale, 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 like in, you know, he could actually come across as sick. Like what we as humans, we would see this as sick. Like he has not had sunlight. Like someone who is from a place where there is no sunlight. Does that make sense? Pale, old, and when I look at this here, it's not like that. Like it's here, it looks actually okay. I think when I turn it, it changes. yeah, it changes. So strange. And it's like it comes in like a, well, I won't say it's not starved or, like, not, it's just different and somehow pale, bluish. Well, they do have blue lips here, right? But kind of coming in with like a bluish light, like a bluish blue aura maybe, or something, like a blue skin, pale blue, light blue skin. And well, if you stood in front of someone like that, with like this big, like a solar, solar plate somehow, which is not normally human for us, how would you react to that, right? It's like if they could come in here, like just standing visibly in front of you, you probably would be a bit like, who are you, right? So it feels a little bit like something is approaching here, but it's not quite showing its colors fully. It's like it's here. It can be a part of yourself, like you're connecting more and more with something that feels right for you. But in this world, it's strange. Does that make sense? It's like your antenna to the cosmos is becoming more and more clear, and you're connecting with something here. Or you're actually not just connecting, but you're realizing, oh, I'm from that place. Like here we have starseed elemental here, right? At the bottom here. It's like, it's not just that I'm in my human form as a human and I am connecting with something that is different. Wow, how exciting, perhaps, right? This is actually a realization that you are them, or they are you, or and realizing this is a big part of myself. Like, I am this one. I'm this one here, right? And I'm connecting with, like, you could say your tribe or something, like where you come from, right? Like having that feeling that I'm connecting with something now, and I thought I was just a human here, and I had these certain skills or something. I have like psychic abilities, so I can connect with something that is outside of the realm, and in that way I'm I'm somehow special, that because I can do this, perhaps, right? And probably you are special in that way, because this guy here is not, well, he is one kind of living being, existence, or consciousness here. But there are many others, right? This is just, you are connecting with one kind. And this one kind feels like home for you. Like Two of Cups, this is what we usually say, right? When we fall in love with someone. Now I feel whole. I feel whole because I found my soulmate, right? This feels like you're connecting with a soulmate. And it makes you feel whole. Like that. What they are here is actually not important. Like, it's what they make you feel, right? It makes you feel something here. Even though it has a different expression. It could be, like we can put it into, well, I talk about like hybrid looks and something, but it could be, you could be a young person, and your Two of Cups is an elderly, very sick person here. That is pale, as I said, right? Like, it could be that you figure out, you fall in love with your like Two of Cups is maybe not what society normally say, that a young person should maybe fall in love with a young person, right? But that's not how it is for you. Like you are attracted to something else here. You are attracted to something different. Maybe your Two of Cups has always been a special person here. That is not maybe what society dictates for us, or what is normal or something. Right? It could be that you are a person that you have always, like connected well with horses. Like horses has been your life. You have been horseback riding since you were a child. And your Two of Cups is exactly that. Like that is your Two of Cups, more than maybe humans, even your parents perhaps, like the horse or the dog, or this representation can be any kind of life. As I said, it's all kind of life existence. We're reminded by this symbol of Earth, the Earth card here. We're reminded by this simple Earth card that all creatures are born of Earth, and human beings are the stewards of all life on this planet. So we are in human form, right? But there are still distinctions. Like there can be a certain expression. Some have more feline expression. Some have like very sharp noses, like more bird-like. So even though we are humans, we're still, there's something that shapes it, right? It comes from somewhere. It could be the feeling that you feel like you identify with something here that is, well, bird-like would be appropriate for an air sign like you, right? That you may identify more with like the eagle, right? Maybe you have features, like maybe you realize I actually have like, I have certain features, or you're drawn to, let's say you've been into Avengers, or what they are called, like these super heroes. And the ones that fly are your favorite, right? The ones that fly somehow are your favorite. They have wings. They somehow fly. That would be your, like, that would be your preference somehow here, because I think it's part of you, right? That we all have some kind of, and I've said in some of the other readings, it's like it dawns to me that it's like all of the zodiacs have something very precious that they are defending. Maybe not saying it out loud, but there's just something that this must not be touched, right? This should never somehow change, because this is like innately something very DNA-like precious me. And that's what I feel like. It's like you fall in love with a part of yourself here. You're realizing like a real strong commitment and devotion to something that is, yeah, as I said, maybe not in human form, maybe not, like it could be another kind of species. That you connect, as I said, more with horses, right? Or you connect with dogs or cats better, right? And when you actually look yourself in the mirror, you realize, actually, I have cat-like features, right? I somehow have, there are actually, I believe, still some videos on YouTube that talk about this. that talk about starseed or starseed elementals, yes, starseed elementals, like where you, if you come from, let's say you come from Andromeda, or you come from, that you feel like you connect with something, that you connect with something here from a specific galaxy, perhaps, or some usually figure this out during a spiritual awakening, that they connect with something. And it can be deeply earth-oriented, like really feeling that you connect very deeply to earth, or it can be oriented out towards the cosmos, which usually, at least for you, Aquarius, is very apparent. And it's like, I believe that many Aquarian people feel like they don't really belong here. They don't remember what kind of mission they came to do, if they did that. Like again, late bloomers, right? It's far away, and it could be because you could literally like incarnate from like a planet that is very far away, right? Or even like timelines that are very different, like timelines that are not currently available on Earth, when we think with our human brain in a third dimensional manner, dualistic manner. Then you cannot access it. But if you take yourself out of that existence and you allow yourself to think like, but I live in like a constant time loop, like we can tap into any kind of timeline, any kind of realm, any kind of, like the quantum fields allows us to somehow do this. So why be limited by that? When you start thinking like that, it's like you can connect with this if you want to. It could be that this represents, like a timeline that was, or as I said, it could be from a planet where there's not a sun like we have a sun. They look, it comes across as like bluish, light pale skin. Sometimes alien drawings are portrayed like that. You can try to look this up, like starseed origin or something. And if you're interested, you can find some who talk about this. Like there are different kinds. That if you feel like you come from the Lyria starseed collective, or from Andromeda, Pleiadians, Sirius, different kinds of like origin, you could say. It's almost like you are accepting, I feel like here, embracing that was maybe be the right fact, that it's like you're embracing that your love here is its origin here. Again, it's blue here, right? Its origin is not necessarily human or only human. Does that make sense? It's like, and it's like not just, as I said, psychically connecting with it, but actually embracing it like, well, a love connection, integration. I almost feel it comes across more like integration, like again, like they're touching each other, right? And usually we can't do that, right? Usually we can't, in the third, as I just said, in the third dimensional linear fashion, time and space is somehow locked. You can't, if you stay in that thought pattern, you can't change that. It's set, it's fixated, it's unchangeable. But if you allow yourself to think outside of that box, you may be able to connect. But in the third dimension, you cannot connect to whatever this is here. Not even in yourself. Like if this is, like a seed in yourself, then it's dormant. As long as the third dimension dominates, you can't access that origin. Only when you allow yourself to go outside of the box, and maybe that's why we have the late bloomers, it's because it actually, you need to get yourself out of the box. As an Aquarius, you can't stay in everything you learn about Earth, Aquarius, is literally rubbish for you. Like it holds you in an understanding that Earth is in a special condition and manner. And it takes a certain brain to actually get out of it. It takes a certain understanding that I can choose not to believe in it. The human species, how we are born, I'm in human form. The human species is highly, highly dependable on the parents, caretakers. We trust what they say, we trust their guidance, we trust their advice, even though it's not always the best, nurturing, good parents you have. We trust it because that's the linear fashion, right? That the advice goes from parent to children, parent to children, parent to children. And that's just how it goes here on Earth. So to shove that aside and to say, okay, I hear that this is the human way, but I am a starseed, so I can't really only depend on this. This is one way of dealing with the human existence here, but I know that there's more somehow. I know there's more. So if I kind of let all this stuff be, I choose now to trust another advice that comes from in you. I choose to trust that there's more. So I'm calling in a new guide, right? When you're in the third dimension, I believe we all have got a guide team around us. But the guide team can only operate from the mind space you have. I literally believe that if you come from a state of mind where you feel like, well, life is okay, I'm kind of doing great, or I feel like I'm okay here. You have one kind of guide team. If you experience something bad in the human world that threatens you or hurts you, you drop in frequency. When that happens, it's almost like your guides shapeshift. And now they stand in a new vibrational field because they always have to adapt to your energy field. They cannot stay high vibrational around you when you are very low vibrational. So when you are very low vibrational, the guide team literally, I feel like, shapeshifts. So now they stand and look differently. The advice they can give you is different. It only offers what is available in that energy field that you now have, where you're sad or lonely or you feel hurt and painful. They can only operate from that space. And if you stay in that, because I have the 5 of Michael and financial constraint here as underlying energy, this is, you could say, an energy that has been working in you for a very long time here. Difficulty with money or maybe knowing, like the idea of how to get money or earn money, or what kind of education to have. The feeling that you may not have enough, that you are not secure, you are not stable, it's not safe here perhaps. And the Five of Michael is a card of, well, Five of Swords is a card of struggling, right? Five cards are never really good in tarot. The situation doesn't serve you. Release yourself. Release your attachment to the outcome. Consider taking a more uplifting approach here. The card says, right, that like, get your thoughts. It's a swords card, so get your thoughts out of the darkness here, towards something more peaceful and uplifting and warmth here, right? This is perhaps what you come from. Like, this has been an energy that works in you. And this is interesting because when an energy like this is pushing in you, it stays there until it becomes so unbearable that you have to do something about it. Like, this is terrible. Like, really terrible. This is pain and suffering and backstabbing and betrayal, and even betraying yourself, like not seeing clearly at all, feeling loss and lack here, having money problems, not knowing how to manifest money, not feeling you can manifest money or sustain yourself. Again, we have this human avatar that we need to kind of uphold. And so having a mass that needs sustenance somehow is like a constant thing, that we need to take care of this somehow. So we need the money, we need to pay the bills, we need to pay for food, and actually be quite practical in that way, which is probably not really you, Aquarius, right? It doesn't fit with your origin here. It doesn't fit with your origin, and it makes you unhappy. So when you actually feel like you connect with something here that does feel like home, right? It's like we don't want to leave, right? We want to keep holding their hand. We want to keep touching them here, right? Because it feels more pleasant. It feels, and again, very loving here. This is a Cups card, right? Very loving, very, very beautiful. Two cards dedicated, sorry, not cards. Two hearts dedicated to creating something wonderful. Kindred spirit. And don't give up on those you love. And again, even though those you love come from a different realm here, or maybe, as I said, maybe they are in animal form. Maybe they are in, I don't know, spirit form, perhaps. I don't know, right? But maybe that is more right for you somehow. That is where your love is, and that could be what you're protecting, right? This idea of that everything that is alive has meaning. Aquarius is associated with the 11th house that talks about groups, communities, right? This idea that we are not working for, like, it's not just me, right? It's about the good for everyone. It has to be right and comfortable for like everyone to be here, right? Like, it's not just for one group that we're trying to make things good, and then we don't care about everything else. Like, Aquarius has a larger understanding that each, I even want to go as far as saying, like, each species is important for the ecosystem of Earth, you could say. Like, the well-being of Earth, or your body, or your Earth existence, Gaia, consciousness, or the like the ecosystem, the on Earth, like the maintenance of, well, yeah, body, globe. It 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 we need all of them, right? We need everything. Like everything has its place, everything has its right to exist, everything is important somehow. That the humans here on Earth are not the only important species. That we have to protect the tigers, right? We have to protect, or at least do something to make them stay, right? That we don't want we don't want them to die out, right? They have a certain place here. It's not just the human form, and our ego is not. Well, now it comes like the human form and existence as it is now, as a little green tomato, is not the right form. I just want to say it's not the best representation of the human. The human is only in a developmental state at this moment, where it hasn't come to its fullest potential. And that could be what these guys know, right? That they know this. It's like they come in with like I want to say a loving touch here. It could come across as, I don't know, ancestral, but I want to say ancestral in the understanding that they are not dead. It's not in the past, like this is still there. That, well, current time, past time, and future time is all existing at the same time. So they come in here and they come in here and with like some kind of knowledge, and they are here simultaneously as they could be dead in the past, in the third dimension. Like, does that make sense? I think for you, Aquarius, it makes sense, right? That you can tap into that energy if you want to. It's all a matter of allowing. That if you allow something else to exist but the third dimensional understanding of things, if you say, but there are many other kinds of understandings, this is just one of them. And in this bubble, certain things exist. If I go in there, I am now part of this strange way. If I go out of it again, I can watch it, and then I can be part of something else here. I can join different clubs, you could say, or join different timelines, understanding realms. You can go in your dreams to other places, or you can just close your eyes and choose. Like I choose to travel to my home planet. And in that space, you realize more and more of what you, like a part of you, is here. And it comes across as like the Two of Cups here. It's like you want to connect more and more, create this contact with something here that is you, but in a different form, frequency, maybe form, but otherwise frequency, right? That is your true home. Like that is the precious. This is that is the switch. This is where the switch is turned on for you. Now I get it, right? This is why I have felt like an alien. This is why I have felt like I didn't fit in here. This is why it took me so long to because I've been in this, it took me so long, right? It took me so long to figure this. I've been embedded in this. And the third dimension is, it's difficult to get out of, right? It's difficult to get out of all the pain and lack here. It's very third dimension. Your guides cannot, they, again, as I said, it's like they shapeshift, right? They shift. Now they stand, they are still your guides. They're still with you, but it's like, and they are still, you could say, existence. Like all existence is allowed. Even the very low vibrational existence, the third dimension, for instance, right? Even that is allowed. You could say the universe would still love it. It's just a part of an expression. It's a developmental state. And then there's another one, or the yin and yang aspect, right? That there is one existence and then there is another. And these, they could come from the other. Like this could be the one you are connecting with, but it's the other. You could say, if Earth is an expression of, let's say, yang energy at the moment, then there would be an equivalent yin planet or consciousness somewhere else. I've said before that I have a certain expression here on Earth. In a human form, I am some kind of energy and I have an opposite somewhere. Like I have an opposite somewhere. In duality, at least, here on Earth, I do have one. I could have a kindred spirit, right? That come from somewhere else. And this is what I feel like it's becoming more and more apparent that there's something here that you love here. Even though like you really care about this, right? This is your Two of Cups. This is the right. This is what I want to do with my life. This is the right investment. This is what I want to protect. This is what I stand for. This is my precious, right? And I cannot, and that's why without it, I have felt like this. Without it, or without accepting that part of myself, I have felt like this. And it has been working. It has been working in you, coming more and more and more to the forefront to make you feel so uncomfortable, so painful, so uncomfortable that you say, I'm out of here, right? This cannot be true for me. Like I have to leave this place. I really feel like it has been pushing you here, like it has, like the third dimension, because it's not where you come from. Like you align with something totally different, and you are in this part of you that is maybe it has just been a little seed here in you, inherited from, I don't know, times back, right? It's awakening, like it wants to awaken and grow, and it cannot grow in the third dimension. It cannot allow itself to be there. In there, it doesn't even exist. Again, as I said, if you feel like you're a hybrid here somehow, or starseed, it cannot grow in the third dimension because the third dimension doesn't allow magical beings. Like only in cartoons, right? It cannot be with you. It cannot be present, and it can definitely not be seen. If we really stretch it, okay, we can allow a fantasy friend, kind of, for a child, right? That a child can have a fantasy friend where the parents don't know exactly what they look like. The child may try to draw it, and the parents just, well, Okay, yeah. It's just imagination, right? Like the child is just imagining this. But actually, maybe they are not. Like they can see their guide. They can see the guide. When you drop because you experience something, and I have talked about this in various readings about this Virgo reading, and Virgo can talk about losing innocence, which children do, right, when they grow up. So losing innocence, losing something vital to a sense of existence, right, to a sense of existence can be maybe a feeling of devastation. And if you drop into devastation, your guides shapeshift. Now they look different. When you if you can somehow raise up your vibration again, maybe getting out of greed or despair or devastation, they can shapeshift again. They become different. They align with you. They cannot do anything else. They don't have the power to just overrule your energy field. You have free will. If you are sitting in despair, you sit in despair. You can ask for help. Then perhaps if it's a tremendous, how you could say, capable energy, it could intervene, but you have to ask for intervention then. And of course, asking for the highest possible light energy to come in and change something. So that is what I have. Like something has been so bad that it has pushed you probably through, I want to say, some very tough feelings here. Maybe you have been sitting in despair. Maybe you have been sitting in money loss, homelessness perhaps, or like losing everything here. Feel like you are, I hear bankrupt. I don't know if you know that word in English, but like that's like to empty it out, right? Like the money, the fortune cupboard here is blank. There's nothing there. Like emptied out. There's nothing left. There's nothing more. It feels, I want to say, abandoned. It could be the feeling that you are totally abandoned from something fortunate in some way, something that can sustain you. Feeling abandoned from it. So when we feel abandoned, we can drop definitely right into despair and misery, but it can become so bad that eventually you can't, like you literally have to get out of the chair and do something else, right? You literally have to do something about it. Like it becomes so bad that you're questioning your own sanity. You're questioning everything about your existence here. That's what I feel like has been going on here. You probably have been in a very bad place here, Aquarius, if you resonate with this. But it's because you're supposed to get to the point that where you are is giving you nothing here. It gives you nothing. Like where you are, this third dimensional energy, when you try to align with that, it gives you nothing. It gives you nothing. It doesn't charge your own like energy batteries. It's not providing nurture, nutrient for you. This, however, does here, right? This does. So maybe if we talk about that the cosmic realm is your energy charger, right? The idea that you connect with something and you actually figure out, I'm not connecting, I as a human am not connecting with an alien. I am like them. Like they are my home here. They are my love. They are my home. They are my love. This is the one, like having contact, touching them here, having contact with them. This is where I'm charged, right? This is where everything lights up. This is where the light bulb starts to glow. This is where my energy starts to like rise up. This is where I get confidence. This is where I feel alive again. This is where I feel protected and cared for, and you know that is that, and that's why you love them, of course. Right? That this is where I belong. This is my home. This is my precious. This is what, not this, right? This is what is energizing me. Like we could talk about many things. Maybe there are values here. Maybe there are certain ways of like expansive thinking that you love that, right? Instead of like this more limited, boxed in kind of way of thinking. This idea that we can see beyond the stars, that you can open up your third eye more. Like they could come in with this knowledge and just saying, but I'm you, right? I am you. And you are me. That's why we are kindred here. We are like, it could be the feeling, you know, like I don't know, but like twin flame. The feeling that you are them, they are you. Kindred souls, kindred spirits, kindred is family, right? Kindred is well known. It's where I feel at home. This is where I can relax my shoulders. This is where I'm embraced and loved. And as I said with Aquarius, sometimes you feel you are an alien here. You don't belong. The customs here are not how you would prefer them, right? They are not, they are unfamiliar actually. But this is familiar. This is familiar and it feels safer, better, well known, again, expansive. This experience here can take you to the furthest galaxies. Like it can expand your mind in a way that blows it, like it could blow the mind of people here, right? That it allows you to travel everywhere. It allows you astral travel, projection. You can go anywhere. You just need to somehow, and this is where I feel like the story is actually taking you. The starseed elemental here and the 7 of earth here that talks about putting in seeds to grow, right? It's like you start putting in the seed and fertilize it and water it, because now the switch has been turned on. So it's like you got the message. I'm supposed to put in my seed now and then actually do something about it and how to make it grow, right? It's like you receive the recipe for growing something that is you, right? The start seed elemental card here talks about children as teachers, fun, lightheartedness, joy, laughter, newly incarnated souls, the child within, maintaining an inquisitive perspective, wonder, and imagination. This is where you come from. Like this is you, right? This is your star seed elemental. It's in all of us. We all come from somewhere, but it's like the children, being with children can be a great way to recapture wonder, innocence, unapologetic truth, and wisdom. It's like what you are doing here. I feel like you're trying to put seeds in to reconnect with the, again, touch here. Touch the one that is young, right? Touch the one that is young, that doesn't have limitations. It doesn't know right or wrong. It hasn't been there yet. It's almost like you come from a place where there is no good and bad. It's a vibration there is no duality, maybe a different realm, like a different universe or something, where there is as we know it, like if our universe is capturing, I don't know, lower vibrational energy, or is only in a particular state of development, maybe there is another universe that is, like really big here. That is definitely the ripe red tomato, right? And this is the one that you're communicating with here. Right? This is the one you want to touch, right? This is the one that is your precious. Like you hold a certain wisdom, Aquarius, like and dealing with the stuff in the third dimension that can stress people out and something. It's like it doesn't feel right. It doesn't fit with you, right? My son is Aquarius, right? And he tells me, like, just chill, right? Just chill. I just want to chill, Mom, right? It's this idea of stressing and like, and I actually see it now. It's so apparent to me because, I figured out that I didn't figure it out. It just is like that. And we just have to become aware of it. Like when you speed up something, when you become stressful in the morning, everybody has to get ready. We have to be at school at 8, right? That's what the dimension tells us. We have to, otherwise we are late. And if we are late, well, you can be the one that they're thinking about if they want to lay off people. You have to be dependable, reliable. You have to all these kinds of rules, right? And when we speed up things and we hurry, right? We are stressed and we hurry about stuff. We have to deal with phones and all kinds of stuff around us. We have to do it quickly to be effective or something. When you do that, you definitely shift into a yang energy, and you lose grace. Grace disappears when you speed up to hurry or stress. When you stress, grace disappears. And what I just talked about the guides, right? If you stress, they shift. Like they shift with that energy. And to get grace back, you have to slow down. Like the mothering touch of nurture and care and kindness is not like that, right? That's not how she does it. No, the nurturing, caring, kind way of being a motherly character is a kind touch, a warm touch, like slow perhaps, not forceful, kind, gentle, or even tender, that is the approach of nurture and kindness in any situation. You know, like if you're in the hospital, the nurses, well, they can act quick if they must. But otherwise, they will talk to you, they will ask you how you feel, if there's something you want. They may even, you know, like, yeah. And with the child, you would go to the child and you will say, I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry. Do you want a little hug or something? That is graceful. That is kind. That is motherly. That is lovely or loving. That is what is the difference between something very harsh and maybe like hurtful and something that is, again, as I said, it's like if something comes like a tsunami towards us and we don't have any time to react, it feels like it just drowns us. But if it comes like slowly towards us, we can adapt to it, and we can tune in whether we want to be in this water, right? Whether we like this, and we can make the decision if this is right for us or not. If the tsunami comes, we don't have a choice. We are not given a choice. So it's like, and I just feel like you're tuning in on something here that has more love to it. Maybe unconditional love, like Two of Cups can be like really soulmates feelings. It has this tune to it, like it holds a sense of care for something that is loving and kind and accepting, again, of all species, an acceptance of all species, an acceptance of that all life that is here is important for the balance of Earth. All creatures, all living beings, all humans are important for the big ecological system and balance. It could be the feeling, you know, like having moments of where you have this all acceptance, like an acceptance or love for everything that exists. And actually that is precious, right? That is precious, that everything that exists is vital and important to the balance of everything. But in the third dimension, that is not how it works. We have good people and bad people. Like the good people are, or the one that are adored, you could say, considered good, considered capable, maybe also. We have capable people and incapable people. Use whatever word you want to use, right? But because the yang energy is favored, we all have to be doers. We have to be like, we need to do something, we need to take action, we need to be effective, we need to get the education, we need to prove ourselves, we need to be valuable, we need to like establish worth, and we need to like sustain ourselves, become adult, you would say, become mature enough to sustain ourselves and do what is necessary. And this is what I feel like has been like a real problem here. That this feels like it has been absent, right? That this idea of how to do this is, or living, you know, like being in a world where like being accepted for who you are. Again, maybe also, you know, just simple a thing as how you look. Some people, like again, the third dimension favors the beautiful ones, right? The ones that look perfect, the top models. The top models are the ones who earn big cash, right? Athletics, strength, six packs. Those are the ones who have like a big pool of suitors. And those who don't look like that, they don't. Like they may have none or only very few to choose of or to connect with somehow. That's how that world works. And either you belong in the good group or the bad group. Like there's no in between. That's how it is. And then you can try to fit into one group. If you want to be in the good group or the capable group or the good looking group or the favored yang group, you could say, you have to become like that. So you have to be healthy, strong. You need to like train your body. Some go through plastical surgery to look in a certain way. Get hair extensions. They use a lot of makeup to change the way they look. They have, they get manicures and pedicures, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just that if you do it to hide something, like you're actually hiding what you are, that like underneath your makeup, you feel like that you don't look good enough, that you're actually not, that if you came to work without doing your hair and makeup, that you could literally become fired, right? That you would be not chosen. That's what this talks about. Not chosen, it's empty. There is no support, there's no backup plan, there's no security net here. That is empty, it's dried out, there's nothing here. When that happens, it's like it could be the feeling that it's, or when it says financial constraint, but I would say that we could say it could be any kind of dryness here, any kind of lack of moisture or lack of emotional understanding and looking beyond, right? Again, looking beyond. It's interesting how when I look at it here, I think that it looks like a normal face. And when I look at it here, it's shapeshift. It becomes older and more pale and something. Again, as I just said, you can use makeup to make you look a little more, like suntanned, or you can use makeup to cover spots or something, to somehow cover up something. But and the world can be like that, right? The third dimensional world can be like that and actually become very judgmental and not very loving. You can be the kindest, most loving person and have no friends or only few friends because other people judge you by your look or your capability, your status in life, or if you have like a handicap or something. And for romantic settings, like romantic intimate connections, it could be that again, the beautiful choose the beautiful ones, right? They go by the best possible. Well, you could say a bit like in the animal world, right? If you can get the strongest male of the herd to be the one you mate with, I believe the female would choose that because it's supposed to give the strongest cubs, the strongest children, the most capable, survivable children. It's about the survival of the species. So we pick out something that is supposed to be at least what we learn, right, in society, what we should look for somehow, what we should look for, so that the seed, the child we bear, that it becomes like survivable and it actually has what it takes to grow in this world. But the world has also been polluted by this whole idea that because you look beautiful, you are, you could say, also a survivable seed. And everybody who carries some kind of condition is less attractive. Like if we had like a badge here on the shoulder that tells us about the conditions we have. When you go on a dating market and everybody has this condition mark, you can look at someone who is athletically extremely strong, they look great, they have six-pack and everything, and then you look at the condition mark that tells you that they have a lung disease or they have a heart disease or that they have some kind of chronic condition. Would it be the same then, right? Would you choose them again if there was another candidate who also looked great, fairly great, and they had almost none? Like, would you choose them again? Like, probably not, right? But we don't know that. It's like some of our senses have been polluted by other input. And I just feel like what you are connecting with here feels like this is exactly my match here. This is the right one, right? They have a healthy, maybe heart, I don't know. It is a love card here. Maybe they have, we share similar views about the world. Like this whole idea of that all life can be loved. It should be loved. All kinds of existence should be loved. Like no matter what it is. And it has its own expression. It has its own look. Like I'm such a favorite, I so much favor those people that make, videos or content about maybe their a particular condition, because it shows us something about the world that sometimes is hidden. That this is they can be beautiful people and have like really good intentions and maybe they have a work that they can do that is actually very helpful, but and they are doing the best they can with the circumstances they have. And that in itself is perfect. Like that is how it's supposed to be. Like this acceptance that we are different, that we do different, we act different, we don't have, like we are not machines, we are not alike, we are not clones. We come from different places, we have different values, we have different Well, I haven't been a fan of showing my face online. Actually, I didn't think that it would, I want to say, help the readings forward. I think for a very long time I have thought that, well, my face wasn't really likable somehow, and I don't smile much. It's like I don't know if it's genetic. It's just, it's not natural. I want to say it's like it's not natural. Like my facial structure it's not natural. And I grew up with a mother who didn't smile at all. I just want to show you here because this little guy here was crawling on my leg here. Can you see him? I actually, like wiped him off until I realized what it was. So little beautiful one here. Anyway, my mother didn't smile much, and somehow I may have inherited that as normal somehow. So I have not been, it has taken me a while to actually put my face on camera. And if you have followed me for a long time, I have been really working on this idea of shedding layers of, like I couldn't put my face on camera unless I looked in a certain way. But now I'm doing it anyway, right? Sometimes I put on a little eyeliner, sometimes not. But I'm, I'm still trying to keep it pretty raw. It has been part of my process to kind of get in tune with who I actually am and take off these layers of expected appearance or something. So I have a Mars Aquarius. I somehow I relate to some of this, right? That there is something else about me that is not just maybe human in some way. I've read about ideas about like having atlas before, this idea of that horns or atlas somehow act as antennas and you can pick up some kind of information from it. And I saw a while back the movie called Sweet Tooth on Netflix, which talks about like a generation of an entire generation of hybrid children who do have like physical and like changes like that. Some have feathers, some have atlas, some some look like cat, they have cat features and so on. And it's a movie that is made, I believe there was some kind of catastrophic event or like a pandemic or something. And after that, any child that got born had some of these features. And the parents were somehow terrified and mortified because this is not normal, right? That this is not normal. It could be that the two of Raphael here is, maybe this is a child, right? That that you have a child in your midst that is, and now I want to take another book. Well, it is in Danish, but it's written by Doreen Virtue, who also make tarot cards. I want to show you here. It's called Crystal Children. And this book talks about, and somehow it's on my table here, it talks about the new generation of psychic and sensitive children that come in with a certain kind of wisdom. And you can't really kind of shake them. Like, they have a certain robustness to them. You can't just change their mind. I believe one of the first attempts to get some of these children across also come with autistic children and children with ADHD. I don't believe that they are incapable. I believe they are teachers, because they teach us something about love, or lack of, right? That we actually have been so conditioned to not favor something that follows the routine, right? I believe they are teachers in a way, in the most deep and raw way. Because autistic children, you can't just force them. It doesn't help anything. Like, if you want to, what happened in the past, children were just beaten until they complied, right? You can't do that with autistic children. And children with ADHD, it doesn't work. You will not get your way. Maybe you will achieve something, but you will not get the child that you hope for. You will not have children that just comply. They will always fear you. They will always show you that in their eyes. They will always behave in a certain way that is not what is normal, right? They will always stand out. And I have, like, those people who incarnate, those souls that incarnate as with our autism, I believe that those souls are vital for our growth towards love. And they are immense warriors. It doesn't look like that perhaps, but for me they are. Because they don't yield, right? They don't give in. It's like they're committed to show us something. Like they just don't, it's like they're defending a certain core. Again, as I said, it's like they're defending, we all somehow are defending something. But they come across for me, and also with like crystal children here, like indigo children, rainbow children. It's like, you can look it up, but it's like they have a certain wisdom or something. They stand for something that they are not, they can't budge to it. It's simply too important, right? It's simply too important. And somehow I feel like, because there has been all this struggle here, you have been shown a way towards reconnecting with something, to a seed that is maybe supposed to have put into the ground a long time ago. But you are asked now to do that. The 7 here talks about putting in seeds into the ground and trying to figure out how to fertilize it, right? How to make it grow. But usually we don't take seeds we don't like. That wouldn't make sense. Like, the things we want to grow are the things we would like to see more of, right? So now it's something about choosing a certain seed, put that in the ground, and then this is what you're fertilizing, right? It has to align, it has to be right here, right? It has to be right. Like, my son, he's 18 now, right? And he's, on his way with education. But I have told him many times that if you change your mind, because he's in the system, like he's in the 3rd dimension, it's like you can't really not be somehow, right? Unless you have a real good divine plan and you know exactly what it is, and he doesn't. Like, as I say, late bloomers, it's like there's the switch hasn't turned on for him yet. He's on his way, I think. And the age of Aquarius is here. So I believe he will get it at some point for him, right? But he's in the system. And maybe that system at some point becomes so unbearable here for him that he's going to tell me, he's going to say, Mom, like, the teachers and school is just stupid, right? He tells me already, well, Mom, it doesn't really matter about exam and everything because what we learn is obsolete already. Like, that's his attitude to the education he is attending. And this tells me so much about Aquarius energy, and my own Mars Aquarius energy has been, for many, many years, been dimmed. Because I was in the system here. So my personal opinion was dimmed. So I'm learning so much from him, right? He really has this very solid, certain things you can simply not touch it. Again, his way of saying chill, just chill, right? Forcing things, stressing about things and everything. It's really like he just looks at it like, why? Like, why are you doing this? Like, it takes you away from grace, right? It takes you away from love. That's not what he's saying, but I believe it's what he's meaning. He's defending something, right? He stands in a defense mode of something that is different, something that is different than the world we know now. It has a certain tune to it, a certain... My brother has an Aquarius son also. He's 26 and he has autism. And he is like this as well. If you stress around him, the autism takes over. Like, he just blocks everything. Like, you can't make him do anything. Right? So it's so highlighted for me how the defense comes up when something particular is being touched upon, right? When something particular is being touched upon, you can't really force it. Early in my life, I was a kindergarten teacher, so I have been working with children and also children with, of course, autism, other diagnoses. Of course I did. Why not? And it was a way also to challenge my dimmed Aquarius. Because when you work with children with autism or other behavioral borderline or all kinds of, or non-verbal children or children that have maybe ADHD or ADD or something, you are forced to like change the way you think if you want to help them, right? If you want to be available to assist them in their school life or kindergarten life, you can't do what I was told when I grew up. And you can't punish them. Like, you can't, it doesn't work. And it's also not allowed. Like, I could not just punch a child. Like, that is illegal. I could lose my job and never ever work with children again, right? But it's, of course, I got myself into that job because I was challenging my dimmed Aquarius, right? It was supposed to awaken and come forward and like really speak, maybe like what I do now, right? Like, speak from the terms that we are all important. Every single living being is important. It has an equivalent, possibly an opposite. And if you bring this out of balance, if you try to be something else you are not, it brings something out of balance. Animals are not hiding behind clothes, right? They don't have a marriage contract. Like they sniff each other, that's enough, right? They don't wear fancy clothes. They don't get surgery, like to look better or something. Like in nature, nature is what it is. In nature, the male and female, well, there could still be this idea that you want to mate with the strongest or something, or the seemingly strongest female, perhaps. But I believe that it's not covered up, right? If you are strong, it's literally like that. It's not covert. You're not masking you're not masking it. In this world, there will be weak and strong. Like it's you can just look around. But as humans, we have somehow figured out to covertly hide some of this and put masks on and not be authentic, to lie, to betray, to lie to survive, to lie to get by or fit in. As I said, I had to shed layers of this, like really asking myself why I'm wearing certain clothes, why it's that kind of clothes and not this kind of clothes, or why I'm using this kind of makeup and not this other kind of makeup, or why using makeup at all. Why am I, like I have this very frizzy curly hair? Why am I trying to straighten it? Why not just let it be what it is? Yeah, but it's frizzy and very curly and doesn't look great. But is that important? Like, is it? Like, yeah, in this world it is. But again, my son Aquarius, I love him. Like, he really demonstrates this again. He doesn't care about clothes, right? Doesn't care about his hair, what it looks like. He's starting growing like beard, a little kind of beard thing. He doesn't care about it. Like, that's just how I am, right? It's so apparent to me that he's defending this idea. This is who I am. This is what I am, who I am. Take it or leave it kind of energy. He doesn't care about clothes. My brother's boy too. He doesn't care about it. He's aware that the world cares. My son too, he's aware that the world cares, but he doesn't. And he goes for the clothes that feels good. The shoes that actually fit him, that are nice to wear. Not that they are modern necessarily, or they are fashionable, or the newest, whatever. No. And Aquarius, you are the opposite of Leo, that probably would go for status and image and spotlight and adoration and six packs. And so you're the opposite, right? And it's very apparent to me. And I'm still figuring out what kind of Aquarius I am then. My Mars is Aquarius. My approach to the world is Aquarian. But it has been very dimmed because I grew up in a family where like acceptance of everything was definitely not a thing. Only certain things were good enough, right? And that's how life should be, and that's how I should be. So I had to fit into that. But I'm now crawling out of that space, right? And realizing that there's much more, and I can choose, and you can choose, and everyone else can choose. I will always be a supporter of my son's choices if he comes and tells me, Mom, I'm getting out of this education. I would say, okay. I could ask him why and just see if he has figured out why. And if he starts something else in life, we'll see where it takes him, right? It's just this idea that, and again, I grew up in a family where that could not happen. If you started something, you finish it, right? And nothing else is doable, right? If you start something, you finish it. But I don't necessarily think that today. I think that there are so many things available for us. I can choose several kinds of sports. It doesn't mean that all of them are right for me, but those that do feel right, I should maybe do them. My mom was very much into like healthy living. My father about very much about this keeping up your strength, like being strong and like physically strong was important to like survive life, to go through life. All his career was about physical strength, repairing and moving and being strong, healthy. And he still is, even in his 80s. He favors that he is strong, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. In a yang world, third dimensional world, it was necessary. It was what was needed. It was how to survive best, I think. My mother was very into healthy eating and everything. Nothing wrong with that necessarily, unless it becomes an obsession and it becomes dictative. And I grew up with that. I learned that this is the best way to live. So I got myself into sports that required strength and running and cardio and high pulse activity. And now I just know, when I look at my son, like he's not at all into that. Now I know that this was probably wrong actually for me, that was not really who I am or what fits me, that maybe I should have found something like less energetic somehow, or low, what's that called? High impact, low impact training, training, because it actually fits my body and my nervous system better, right? It feels actually more right to connect with something that understands me, right? This is also an energy that understands you, right? It understands where you come from, what you believe in, your world values, that is a good feeling, right? But I did what I was supposed to do. I became what they wanted me to do, not what I am. So here I have a feeling of reading for Aquarius energy, that Aquarius is reconnecting with who it actually is somehow. We have a new moon in Virgo coming up here on the 14th of September, Thursday, for some on the 15th. But it's a new moon in Virgo and it's oppositional to Neptune. And Neptune is an interesting energy in this case because Neptune represents everything that is dreamy, that is, can be illusionary, but dreamy, something fluid, and Neptune is in Pisces at the moment, which is very spiritual and very magical, and it's like, like the magical being, enchanted beings or cosmos or realms or something. So it's an interesting energy. Virgo, new moon in Virgo, we can actually manifest new for the Virgo energy. So please do that, right? I had this a few weeks back, this reading that talked about like that Virgo actually got a massive hit, and it has like ripple effects for all zodiacs after, especially the zodiacs that are after, you would say, linearly speaking, after the Virgo. So Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, you, Aquarius, and Pisces, right? That the hit is like the aftermath, the heart the heart massage, to try to keep something alive that kind of got a very big hit. And Virgo talks about that, right? Virgo is the upper octave. It's like the virtuous, righteous, the purest, the most godlike, Jesus-like energy that you can have of all the zodiacs. That's Virgo. But in the third dimension, Virgo energy is not at its highest octave. I don't think it can be when you're a green tomato experience. Like you haven't gotten to the red one yet. Like in the third dimensional energy or lower vibrational energy, it can't express itself as Jesus. It expresses itself in a different way, and it's judgmental and self-critical. And we have new opportunity with the new moon now in Virgo to maybe change it, right? If we are enough people out there who actually try to do this, we can put out new manifestations. I said losing innocence, right? We do that when children grow up, right? We lose it in the third dimension. We have to adapt to school and reality and jobs and education and stuff like that. But the childlike laughter here and something, maybe we could have that in mind with that new moon, right? That try to lighten things up a little bit, get some of that innocence back, inviting innocence in to our lives again. Not just to our children's life, but to our life. Play, laughter, joy. I talked about in the other readings how we can sometimes take things from our current reality with us home. So let's say you go to school and you know you have 8 hours in front of you in school, and actually you're kind of bored, or you don't feel like that interested in school. And then furthermore, there is this incident at school where your teacher just really becomes reactive and is out of line, like really shouts or has to choose to become very loud to settle some kind of noise in the classroom. And maybe you feel it's quite uncomfortable somehow, right? The rulings in the classroom feels uncomfortable. So, and then you go on with your day and you get out of the classroom. You are off school. You are actually now in free time. You have leisure time now, perhaps, right? But if you're not careful, you can take that with you. Like the experience may still, like linger. You may still be like annoyed about something. You may still feel it was uncomfortable the way the teacher reacted. Or even if they spoke to you, maybe you feel it was out of line. You were angry about it or frustrated about it, perhaps, right? Or a boss, some kind, right? So when you get out of school and you close the door to school and you go to your bike or you on foot home or in your car, you can sit there now and you can, if you let that story go on in your head here, you are now it's still alive. Like it's still like it's present still. Like it's still going on. Like she's still yelling at you. Like you're still feeling the same or remembering the same kind of uncomfortable or frustrated energy. And you may sit there, like bigger a bit, like she's an idiot. She doesn't understand, right? Or how does she actually dare to say that? Like she is out of line, sitting and blah, 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 blah about this. You get home, you get inside your home, you're still thinking about this. You may say it, to your spouse, to your wife, to your children. You may say it to your dog, to your horse, to anyone who wants to listen, perhaps. You just let it out, you could say, on whatever is available there. So now you have taken a circumstance that happened maybe 7 hours ago. You take it into a private space and you let it live there. When we do that, some even take it with them to bed. Some are even wondering if it's going to be the same next day. That's what I think happens to children when they are bullied, right? That they go to sleep, but they think about like the bullying boy from 8th grade that can come after them the next day. They are never off. Like they never have time off to play, be innocent, have fun, be free, because the brain keeps this going for them. It means that they never get to relax, they never get to rejuvenate, they never get grace back, right? They never get the light back, they never get beauty back, or nurture, or self-nurture, or self-care. They never get it back. If this is like a continuous cycle that you are in, this is what happens. You're never off. You're still at work. You're still bickering with your boss or colleague or teacher. You're still fearing to be bullied next day. Do you get my point? That somehow we have to learn how to shut that door. Decide that it cannot invade my brain, right? To that extent. And I think we are in a development mode at Earth right now where it's like we can't do that. I think all people do this to a certain extent. Like this idea of like closing the door to something and literally let it stay there. And now you sit in your car and you have now taken responsibility of your time. You may turn on your radio, You sit there and you sing because this is your favorite music. When you do that, you change the atmosphere. You take your mind to a different place. When you do that, the experience will be different. And when you get home, you may actually be in a good mood. You may actually be all right. You may be energized again. I don't know. Maybe there's a certain person here that you can talk to that gets you, right? Or somehow they help you to get back in a loving mode. Like they have a way of, like when you get in touch with that, it's simply just allows you to relax. I know, it's years back, I found a channel on YouTube that's called The Loon Innate. So there's a beautiful woman there, and she is making, what are they called? ASMR, Reiki videos. And somehow I just figured out at some point when I laid down and I turned everything off, like I made the room cozy, dark, and and I listened to her on low volume with headphones, and I just laid on my bed with no pillow and just a little blanket. And I realized that every time when I have been hearing one of her sessions and I got up and got myself moving during the day after this, I just felt some kind of calm. Like she had a way of calming my nervous system. I don't know how and whether Reiki can actually move through the ether via some kind of video. But nonetheless, it had an impact on me. I can recommend her if you want to look her up. The point is that it's something about finding or aligning with the things or the people that feel nurturing to you, that can, like, really, no matter how off it seems. Like, maybe you don't believe in ASMR Reiki transmissions via YouTube. It doesn't matter if it works, does it? That's what I feel like is here. It's something about believing in something, whether it seems really off, like in the third dimensional understanding, it may feel like it's off or people will not understand. It doesn't matter, does it? If it matters to you. I'm such a believer in this, like for myself, but also for you out there, like really finding out who you are, right? That it doesn't matter what other people say. They may not understand. You can try to convince them, or you can just do things on your own, not necessarily sharing it. The point is that you're getting in tune with what is really right for you, right? What really feels right for you. Maybe you are a crystal child, an indigo child, a rainbow child. Maybe you feel you connect with the idea of being a starseed, or that you are a hybrid child, that you carry some particular kind of DNA seed or something. It doesn't matter. The point is that it just feels right for you. That's my main message. Become and be what's right for you. Like and whatever society may say, whatever people may say, it doesn't really matter, does it? I believe that we are all somehow innately protecting something, and that particular precious thing is you. That is the real, true, authentic expression of you. That is that vibe inside. That is that ocean, or that wind, or that expression of yourself. That is that fire. It is that grass or that rock in you, right? If we go by elementals, but that is the point. That and we have starseed elemental here somehow, and you are an air sign, right? The elemental of you is perhaps airy, wing-like, as I said, or bird-like. Air signs communicate usually, like they are into communication in some way. But I want to say, I feel like definitely for Gemini, also for Libra, but for you, Aquarius, it's a little bit different. You can be talkative, of course, especially about things you like really feel you know something about, that align with you. You can. But otherwise, I want to say, I would go to say telepathy. Like, it's almost like you expect it. Like when you are born, I believe that you can do this innately. That it's in you, it's born into, you're born with it. It's a skill, but you realize that nobody is answering, right? The third dimension, it's not working. They're not answering. maybe you realize someone has answered here. Maybe you feel like someone is answering me here. That's interesting. That someone is answering me here. Maybe there's someone who, like they answer through telepathy. They're not saying anything. It's something like you just look at them, like you look at them, and then innately it's like you have this, wow, that's interesting, like a friend, right? Or as I said, like if you had a horse, that a horse is actually your favorite one in the world because you have telepathy with him. Does that make sense? Like it's, or any other kind of animal, that they can communicate with you in a certain way, or they understand you in a profound, innate way that you haven't felt anyone in the third dimension, not even parents, not siblings, that they don't get it, right? They don't get it. And sometimes I even think there are no human words. There are no human words that can describe a feeling sometimes. Telepathy can be feelings. It's not just words. It's a transference of a conscious state somehow. And it's almost like someone heard the call here. They're picking up. They're answering, right? And they're answering, but you are kind of maybe not expecting this. Like maybe you expected it should be a human, right? But they're not. It's not. Like again, it could have a. Well, it could be like like a fantasy friend. Like when children are very young, I think you were born with this. Like you could be born with telepathy. The ability to hear and communicate. Again, the third eye here, right? I remember one meditation I did a long time back. It was called something Lemuria something. And I remember when I just glided along this communication, I just felt myself levitating up and kind of connecting with a grid line above the earth that could take me swiftly back in time. That's how it was shown to me, right? Or how I felt it, like time was going backwards. I was taken back in time to a place where Lemuria existed. And I remember that it felt like I was home. Like this is where I belong. This is where I belong. This is my people. This is my tribe. This is where I belong, right? But they weren't saying it. They just stood there and kind of looked at me. I don't have like strong clairvoyant visions, but I do have some. And it was like there was this group of, and now I say people, but a group of beings there, and they were just looking at me. But I could feel them, right? I could feel, they weren't saying anything. I could feel them. I could feel the reason why I knew it was my tribe, because they weren't saying anything, it was what I felt. And what kind of it's like a transmission. I received a transmission from them. And at that time, I didn't understand really. It just felt right somehow. But after I realized that they actually didn't say anything. I had no conversation with them. Like no back and forth communication like that. It was not like that. It was like an instant recognition of something. And then it was just like this ongoing kind of realization that I was in this tribe, like an environment that operated in a certain way. And I just felt like that would be my tribe, right? That kind of feeling. Like you finally figure out that you belong somewhere, right? It was that kind of feeling. But I also realized I wasn't really, they were not speaking to me. I just knew. Like I could feel it, and I knew. I just knew. I don't know how I knew, I just knew. And that realization came actually a long time after that how come I knew this? Because they weren't saying anything. I think that if we stand in front of people and they're not saying much, and they're just looking at us, looking us into the eyes, and they're not saying anything, maybe they are trying to read your mind. Like maybe they're trying to use telepathy. But usually people don't get this, right? They just feel it's annoying. Why are you looking at me, right? Why are you staring at me? I think it can be because some are actually doing this, maybe subconsciously, maybe knowingly, right? They're just trying to figure out if someone can hear me, right? If someone can hear me here. Or do you get it? Like, do you get my message of who I am? Like I may be sending out who I am. If they are not responding, maybe that's what this feels like. There's no response, right? There's no response to one of my elemental ways of communicating, perhaps. I only get the human version, and as I say, sometimes words don't cut it right. It's too little. It's not at all the right picture. You don't get the right picture with words, and words can be deceitful. People can lie. They have their masks on. It's covert, But the telepathy from the heart can never be. Like it will show who you are. And when you open your third eye, this is where you can see it. This is where you can look through people. Like they can put a mask on, but you just know. Like you just know that, yeah, they are putting up a show, right? You just know it. You just know it. Like it's or you become aware that, oh, they are in the third dimension. Like first you don't get it. As a child you don't get it. Why are they not responding to me? But then you realize they cannot respond to you in that way. They can only respond in the third dimensional developmental way because the innocent is gone. They don't have it anymore. They can't communicate in that way. It will never be authentic. It will never necessarily be honest. Does that make sense? And here I feel like you found someone or something that is honest. This is like you. Does that make sense? Like it's like you. It corresponds with more telepathy also. Or it corresponds or connects only with telepathy like you may have with an animal. Because we do not necessarily understand dog barking or other expressions, lion roars or something. We don't know exactly in words what that is, but we may interpret the heart connection if you can Like if you can do that, unpolluted, of course, if you can't do that, you get the message. You get the message. You can do it with anyone, like a bird or, I don't know, a horse, a cat, a dog. Maybe you are capable of this, like you can actually communicate in that way, and most people can't, like they, and that could also be the reason why this feels so hollow here, empty and hollow. The air element can be, you know, words that are spoken that you can't really necessarily, this could be what you feel like, that you have been in conversations that are hollow, that they are lies here and covert. Everything they speak, there are no value behind it. Like the cupboard here from which they speak is empty, right? That or that the expression, the word expression is empty, like something is missing. The heart, perhaps, the love, the care, the kindness, the nurture, the motherly gentleness or slowness or grace, right? That there's no grace here. There's no grace. Yeah. Okay, I'm more than 2 hours in. So I am ending the reading right now for you, Aquarius. I hope this somehow makes sense. I think it's wonderful, and I think it's exciting and interesting, because Earth is moving towards a new existence, and if that means that the hybrids are getting out of hiding, it's very interesting. Well, like myself, like I've probably never spoken in the way that I do now before. So I think it's an interesting time. And I would encourage others to do that as well. That is the way forward, I think, that we become more accepting of all kinds of existence. That is definitely very dear to my heart, and I think to yours as well, Aquarius. And knowing that there are so many ways or so many kind of starseed possibilities out there, it could be very interesting if we had several from all over the cosmos here represented, right? Wouldn't that be great? Anyway, this is what I have. So take very good care of yourself, Aquarius. Love and light to you always. Bye-bye.